All right, so we're now recording our, technically this is our fifth class, but because we missed last week, it'll be our fourth class for the semester, September 25th. So today we're starting our first project, which is the Azuma House designed by Tadao Ando. This house, is located in Japan. It's very small, but the idea here is to master materials, lighting, and some of the environment, right? So again, because it's small, we can really focus on the camera settings and try to make it as realistic as possible. And even though it's very simple, the house, very small, it still requires a lot of work to try to make it look realistic, right? Getting the correct lighting, the correct sun location, the correct material reflection, and those things in the project. So let me share this house with you guys. Okay, we're recording now, yes. So let me share my images. Okay, so you guys can see this?
Yes.
So this is the front of the house. What do you guys think of the, first impression?
It looks small.
Yes, it's very, very small, yes. It's Japan, so, it's everything's, tiny. But
it looks like it's gonna inside.
It's gonna what?
It's very dark, no lighting.
Okay. So yeah, I mean,
like a church or a museum.
Yeah, I mean, Tadao Ando likes to have, he's done plenty of churches, and they're all pretty much, concrete boxes. But his work is, is dealing with light and shadow, right? So even though concrete is a very cold, hard material, he plays with natural light, the way it enters the house to make the space feel more warm, and much, much more relaxing. They're having, it looks, they're having like a dark, cold space, to live in. So although, the front is very simple, there's really no windows, right? So, I mean, what is he trying to accomplish here? Why do you think he has no windows in front?
Maybe to expose the material, the texture of the concrete.
Okay, yes. What else?
He's trying to control the lighting.
Exactly, he wants to control the lighting. And also one more thing.
I think you said something about like houses in Japan are like private.
Exactly, yeah. He wants to control, yes, he wants to expose the material. That's his, his signature material. He wants to control the light. And last, he wants to control privacy rights. Because, Japan houses are very small. There's very little space between every house, right? They're very close to the street. So, he wants to establish a sense of privacy between the outside and the inside. So the front really is, it's very simple. It's simply a door, right? And above this door, there's actually a light well that comes from here to allow some natural light inside the space here. And then we have a door on the left side and a window on the right side here. So here's the inside of the house, right? So this is the second level, right? It's pretty much 2 rooms, 1 on each side. And what's happening here in the middle? So, I mean, the middle is simply just, there's a bridge that connects both sides. And do you see like a roof here? What's happening above that space?
It's open.
Yeah, it's completely an open area, right? So, or even though, there's no windows again anywhere in the wall, both sides are completely, solid. There are some small windows down here, right? These are there for ventilation, for indirect lighting, and for privacy. But all the light comes from here. And because, it's completely open, it doesn't feel like a box, you get plenty of natural light, throughout the whole year. That's underneath. So above here is this bridge, right? Here's the bridge from below, right? And again, so this space is simply just 4 rooms, right? Above is, let's say a bedroom, another bedroom on the side, office, and a kitchen on the other side. And then below here is an open courtyard, exposed to the elements. So when it rains, everything gets wet. When it snows, everything falls inside, but you still get plenty of natural light that is falling throughout the whole space, right? Even though it's pretty much, it's just concrete. I mean, everything's concrete. The stairs are concrete. The floor is concrete tile, and simply just the floors are wood. That's all. So we have really concrete 1, glass 2, metal 3, 4 for the wood, and maybe 5 for the concrete tile. So in the end, we have only 5 materials in this house, right? So, but the nice thing here is not only the materials, it's the light, right? the way the light comes through the house, the way that it reflects, of the material here, the way that it casts a shadow here, the way the light comes down from the top, and creates all these little details. This is the main part of the house that we want to try to explore. The next project is going to have, more materials, but here we're trying to really master each material and try to also master the lighting. So we can really capture that sense of something very realistic, right, in the scene. Again, this is during the daytime. During the evening, right, you can see that in the evening, the sky, the blue becomes much stronger. And because it's concrete, the light starts to filter down through here. And you can see, all the different colors, from the light that is very orange, from the sky that is blue, and everything, being bounced off through the space. So it's a pretty nice dramatic, experience. Again, a different shot, daytime here. That's the top of the house, right? I mean, it is nice that you can see the sky pretty much at any time right here. And again, there's very minimal, furniture, a chair, a desk, that's all pretty much. There's not really that many props in the house, it's just trying to enjoy the architecture of the space. I mean, you can have stuff growing here, but again, it's simply just light and shadow. This is a rendering done by a different person, right? So you can see, you can try to capture, they tried a different floor type, they tried different furniture, those things we can do afterwards, and I'll give you guys some models to test out. But the basic essence, it's just, just exposed concrete. That's a view. Again, this is actually a very nice shot because when you take a photograph, of a space, right? Let's say of a building, of a house, what's important when you take the photograph? What are you guys thinking about in this shot?
Like material, furniture.
Exactly, yes. I mean, when you go and take a photograph of something, right? You don't just point the camera and shoot, Ideally, you're thinking about what is the main subject, right? What am I trying to capture, or what do I want the person to feel when they see this photograph? So when you guys see this image, what does it make you think about, or what do you guys feel?
Very laid back, relaxed.
That's exactly, yes. That's what it should be, right? You can see that, imagine, say, the props, right? A painting against the wall, a record over here, a vase. But what is the main focus of this image? Where does your eye go to?
The lighting, right?
The lighting, yes, but there's one main feature where you kind of your eye goes to.
My eyes are going to the chairs and the...
Mine, yes, exactly. So that the chair is placed at a perfect angle because when you look at the chair, what can you imagine?
You're laying down there.
Exactly. That you're sitting there enjoying the view, right? I mean, you have a chair, a nice light with a yellow light, the light's coming through here. It's kind of a very laid back feeling, right? And the chair is there because the chair makes you relate to the image. I can imagine sitting there. If the chair wasn't there, then your eye would be bouncing around the space and you really cannot feel like you could be part of that space. So again, the camera, the furniture, the angle are all very important to try to capture something of every shot, So you don't just point and shoot, First thing is, what is the subject? What am I trying to show the audience? Is it a relaxing space? Is it an office building? Is it a rainy day? Is it a space to relax or is it a space to work, So that could be down to the lighting. If the lights are kind of yellow and orange, that's a very soothing, relaxing light. If they're yellow, if they're white or kind of bluish, then those are like daylights. They're meant to, for offices, for working. So again, all these different tones, the colors can set the experience and the mood for each space. That's that light well in the beginning of the, if you go back to the first picture, this one, that's a light well that comes through here behind the concrete wall. So it's simply, nothing more than an opening, right? Back to the front here, side of the house. That's taken from the top, with a very wide angle camera. And you can see it's pretty much a bridge between two spaces, a staircase and a lower, courtyard between here. I mean, this house, how wide do you think this house is? Can you guys imagine or guess?
Maybe 10.
Like maybe
10
10.
feet.
Yeah, no more than 10 feet, yes. So would you guys like to live here? Or?
Yeah, I think I would.
I would like it, I
Vacation,
think, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
The open space, like when it rains, it's just not walkable.
Yeah, you have to have an umbrella to get across. I mean, there's nothing covering the top. You know, when it rains, yeah. You might get a little wet. You might use an umbrella, but yeah, it's all meant to be exposed. I mean, at least
And
down
someone
here.
lives here?
Yeah, it's a private house.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, so at least down here, you know, this bridge gives you some protection, right? But once you're above, you know, if you're going up the stairs, there's nothing to protect you from the elements. You can see here by the this image here, there's the entrance from this side, right? Here we have you know, like a living room, open courtyard, office, kitchen. On top here they have 2 beds. You know, imagine the kids, and I guess the parents from here. So, I mean, a whole family, you know, could live here. Everything here is just completely exposed, right? Very Japanese, you know, in sense. Even though it's very, you know, modern, it's a very Japanese idea to be, you know, exposed to the elements, to be able to see the change of time, how the light moves. These things are all rooted into the, you know, traditional Japanese architecture. That's another, you know, view of the house on the inside. So again, you can see that it's a very simple house. You know, it really doesn't have much more detail than that. So let me now share my screen here. So again, as part of the class, I'm gonna give you guys this model, right? This is the model of the house, right? Because again, in this class, we're not here to make 3D models. We're here to learn how to render, you know, in detail. And this model, again, it's a very simple model. You know, I'm sure you guys can build it in 3 seconds, you know, in Rhino. It's simply just boxes and squares and, you know, openings. There's no elaborate details on the windows. There's no window frames. It's just square, you know, box pieces. You know, that's it, no more. So, you know, it's a very simple model to build. But again, we're here to capture the light. So we're gonna set up cameras. We're gonna work with the materials, and we'll do some staging to try to get, you know, some nice shots of the house. And for this project, I want you guys to capture 5 renderings, you know. So we're gonna place 5 cameras in the scene. And each camera is gonna capture something of the house, you know. And you can choose the shots, you know. I'm gonna choose one of them. So, and you can choose the other ones and put them, you know, wherever you want, you know, in the house. You know, this house is, again, each piece is separate. So I can take away this piece here, and we can see that it's pretty much, you know, simple, right? I mean, this model already is kind of broken into parts. You know, some parts we might have to explode to, you know, to change the material, but, you know, we'll do it, you know, as we go. And the way that I teach the class is that I'm gonna cover every step to render this house. So I go through every material application, every camera setup, so we can do it together, you know, through the whole class. Everything should be labeled. So this is called wall 1, wall 2, front wall, back wall, you know, glass, you know. So again, very limited layers for this. So again, before in the last class, you know, we had just, you know, added some basic shapes, right? Boxes, spheres, cylinders, right? And we had, you know, very simple scene, right? We had also lights, and we had also cameras, right? So again, as part of this lesson, I'm gonna go through all those steps, but applied going to this, you know, project, right? So again, during the lecture, you guys just follow me in the video. And once I finish lecturing, I'm gonna copy this model into your class folder, right? And from that folder, just please copy it to your personal hard drive. Don't just go to that folder and open the file, because it's the file that we are all sharing at the same time. So if it gets open, you know, in 5 different computers and they all do save, it might corrupt the file. So please just copy and paste whatever I give you to your personal, you know, USB hard drive or any of those things. All right, so let's get started here. So to start here, okay, first of all, let's check our units, right? So I'll go to customize units, make sure that you're in US units, and make sure that lighting is set up to American and not international. Second thing, let's check our rendering setup. So we go to the teapot with the little wheel. And let's see what we have here. So this is the default rendering. So I'm going to change mine to, again, V-Ray, hotfix 2. This part we can just, cancel. We don't need that. And you can say, don't show again, and do apply. Uh-oh. I meant to hit cancel, not apply. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let's go here to the settings, right? Oops. Okay, so we have the V-Ray set here. So let's go through all this. So for now here, the only setting that we're gonna touch here is just the output size. We're gonna change that to Vista Vision and make it 1024 by 683. Next, under V-Ray for now, we have nothing to change, so leave it as it is. I will come back here eventually once we go into more detail. Under GI, we'll change the primary engine to be Iridian's map, and then we'll modify these two elements down here. Iridian's map, we're gonna change from high to very low, and we're gonna change light cache from 1000 to 500. These things control the quality of the image, right? And because right now we're working in the beginning phase, we don't need the best quality yet. Once we go to the end and we have all our final settings, then we might come back here and make better settings. So for now, nothing will change in settings, and we can close this. Okay, so before I can actually start doing any testing, I need some cameras in the scene. So let me, for now, add one camera in my scene, right? So where do I find the cameras?
Create.
On the right,
Yes.
the right side of the.
So
Yeah.
this little plus looking sign, right? And there'll be a little icon that looks like a camera. So we're gonna click that. And although we have other cameras here, we're gonna keep it standard. We're gonna use the one called physical. So I'm gonna click physical camera. And for now, let's put it in the inside here. So I'm gonna click here and point it out this way. So next, I'm gonna hit just select here so I can move the camera. And I wanna check, while this is being selected, I wanna check the properties of the camera. And I can see that the camera right now is set to a lens that is 40 millimeters, right? So 40 millimeters, it's not the best lens for a very small space, right? So I wanna change for a wide angle lens, right? So I'm gonna click here and make it 20 millimeters. It's a very typical lens that's used for architecture. And you're gonna see that this cone here will get much bigger. So now it's much wider. So now the camera is capturing more of the space inside. All right, so let me switch back to the 4 views. I'm going to make my bottom right view my camera view. So I'm going to just, actually no, let's also name our views because we're gonna set up more cameras. This view, I'm gonna click here. I'll go here, it's called right now Physical Camera 001. I'm gonna call this, let's make it Courtyard. Actually, let's make it, Outdoor Camera. Now let's make it lower Outdoor Camera, so it's clear. When I click here, we have the correct name. Now I'm gonna click down here, right, in this area, go to orthographic, and I should be able to select here my camera, lower Outdoor Camera, and there's my view, right? So what's wrong with this view right now? Why does it look so strange?
The camera is on the floor.
Exactly.
Target, it's.
Correct. Yeah, anything that we add here, any new element will always be added to the 0, axis. So we have to always bring it up. So I'm gonna click the back of the camera. I'm gonna click also the front of the camera. So we're moving the front and back at the same time. And I can just bring it up here and try to capture, try to put it at eye level. Yeah, for now, let's leave it there. All right, so now we can get a better view of the sense. We can see where we're trying to catch here. And this lens, this is a 20 millimeter lens. So if I go back to this camera here and I go back to the properties and I go to the lens here, I could make it a 10mm lens, which is a super wide angle. The problem is what happens as you lower the number more and more to the shot.
It looks
Like
distorted.
it's more far.
Yes. So I mean, it will look, again, these lenses exist. You know, you can buy a lens that is 10mm. You can do 8mm, but those are become very distorted. So I don't want to go past 20. You know, maybe 17 is also a very typical lens. So, but I'm not going to push more than 17mm in this sense, because then it becomes really distorted, and it starts to look pretty bad. So I'm thinking I'll have one camera here, and maybe we'll make one more on top. So I'm gonna take this camera, just front and back, select it. I'm gonna switch to the left view, and I'm gonna click the shift key and just copy it upward. And for this, always do copy, right? Don't do instance or ref, because if you do instance, if you decide at one point to change the camera angle of this lens, it will also change this one here, right? So, and you want every camera to be always independent. So I'm gonna take this one here, shift, bring it up here, copy. Let's change the name to upper outdoor camera. Now we can change here, camera upper one. All right, there's my camera. And this one, maybe I'm gonna place it to be kind of more dramatic, so maybe in the middle of this path here. So it looks pretty nice here, If I go to render right now, what do I get? Nothing, right? It's all black, right? So I'm still missing other things, right? So I'm going to, so you guys tell me, what am I missing here? Why is my rendering looking black?
You're missing the sun, the lighting.
Yes, we need lighting, right? All right, so let's do that. So I'm going to, well, let's try to maximize the top view here. So here's our building, right? I'll go back up here to the plus sign, and I'll hit the little light bulb here. And in this case, we're not going to use photometric. We're gonna use V-Ray. Next, we're gonna use V-Ray Sun. And just like the camera, click and then point towards your scene, right? And for this, always hit yes. That's to add the V-Ray Sky. Once you put the sun, just please verify that this arrow is pointing towards your scene, right? Not the other way. Next, select just the back of the sun, right? Only the back. Go to any view that shows like a sectional view. In this case, let's say the left view, and I'm going to make a, just raise the sun, a little bit at an angle. And we can see over here the sun. So if I move it here, we can see kind of right now it's pointing, towards that scene. So I'm gonna make it a bit more dramatic. I'm gonna make it the sun be to here. So it's gonna make like a shadow line along here. And okay, let's just make a test rendering. All right, so we're getting there. Why is it now so overexposed? Before it was black, now it's white.
You need to set the exposure control.
Exactly. Excellent. Okay, so let's go do that. So we'll go to rendering, right? It should be in the middle of your screen. Go down to exposure control. And we're gonna make here 2 changes, right? Under exposure control, we'll change this to V-Ray exposure control. Under mode, which is just below it, we'll change from photographic from V-Ray camera. And then we can close the setting. Next, now we can just render. All right, so now we have a better scene. The lighting is a little boring right now because it's coming behind the, actually I want it to be more to the side. So let's see if I can move this here. I'm gonna move the sun to come there. I'm gonna move this area. I wanna get some type of shadow along here. So and actually in this view, there's one thing that's missing. Okay, can you guys tell me? Once you put a camera, what should you also do at the same time? So everything is precise. Any guesses? No? I'm feeling lonely here.
I have no idea.
Okay, then you can say, I don't know, but when everything is quiet, it's weird. Okay, so in that case, what's missing here is this viewport, right, is not the actual render you're going to get, you're missing the exact proportion of the viewport. So when you put a camera, just go to this tab here where you have the camera name, go to the lower area and show the save frame, right? So now it's gonna add me this yellow outline, right? That is the exact camera proportion. So when I render, I know that I'm getting the right view, right? I'm not guessing. All right, let's render again and see what we have. So again, pretty boring. I'm not getting any light coming through here. So again, part of this, just playing with the sun, right? And again, right now, I just want to get some better lighting on the inside. And render again. Okay, a little better here, And let's check the camera below. So I'm gonna go here and do the lower camera. Let's do a quick rendering. So right now, it's fairly dark right now. The sun is not even reaching below here. So, I mean, for this space to work, what do you think is the best sun location to get the most light inside this very small and narrow, courtyard?
High in the sky.
Like right above?
Yes. So typically, it'll be something like lunchtime, when the sun is high, right? Noon is the only way to get, probably plenty of light, coming down this space. So I'm gonna put it up here for now. And okay, we get then the sun coming to the space, we can make some, some dramatic areas. But overall, it's not too bad. Let's try again the upper area. Okay, and we see some things here, right? Okay. So again, at this point, we can render, right? We can take shots, we can save them, and we can start to document our space. Our sky is very simple, right? It's just a blue sky. It has no clouds. At this point, nothing crazy. So today I'm also gonna give you guys a more dramatic sky, one that we can control the clouds. We can change to evening, we can change to nighttime, and we're gonna cover 2 different ways to do sky. One I'll cover through this house, and the second one I'll cover through the next project, project 2. All right, so before we go to the sky, what can you tell me about the shadows here?
They're very sharp.
Not all of them, right? Only some of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say that we have the shadows, So I want you guys to actually be able to also, if you want to control the shadows, to make it more blurry or to make it more, I don't know, sharp, right? So let me get an angle here where we can get maybe some more precise shadows here. So I'm going to, let me take a couple shots here. Okay, here. So we have a very nice, crisp line here, right, of shadows. Actually, for this shot, I'm just gonna move my camera a little forward here. So we get a better view of these shadows right there. So again, this shadow, right now it's a pretty straight line, right? But we are able to control the sharpness of the shadows, right? And that's controlled through the sun, right? All right, so let's leave this as it is here. I don't wanna change this for now. I'm going to minimize this. Actually, no, when I do minimize, it goes somewhere else. Oops. Okay. All right, so right now, can you see here, would you consider these things to be very sharp or very blurry, those shadows?
It's very blurry.
Okay. Yes. So let's go to our sun, right? I'm gonna click the sun here and go to the sun properties. If you go down to, let's see, where is it? Sun parameters. Come on, okay. So we have, actually they changed the settings of the sun, from the previous V-Ray and the previous 3D Max, which is fine, yes. Okay, let me just see what's happening here. All right, so we have here, let's see, we have the intensity. So what does this control here?
Either how bright or dull the sun will shine.
Exactly. I mean, this setting, I typically try never to touch it because, but you know, sometimes you do have to make it a little brighter, you know, darker the sun, but I try not to, you know, modify it too much. But if I make this, let's say 3, right? And I render again my scene, you can see that, you know, it is a much more dramatic, you know, sun. The sky is brighter, you know, there's more, it looks more like it's washed out, right? If I go back to put it to 1, right? That's the regular settings. It goes back to being, oops, wrong viewport. It goes back to being, you know, the typical sun here. So if we go to the next setting here that we have, which is the one called size multiplier. Right now it's 1. If I make it, let's make it 5 for a second. See if that makes any difference here. Do you see a difference anywhere?
Shadow got blurry.
Yes.
Yes, good. All right, so let's do that here. So let me make a change here. So I'm gonna go back to the setting, right, for a second. I'm gonna click this. I'm gonna make this back to 1, right? Go back to this over here. I'm gonna use here, this one here, that's called region. So I'm gonna render only a part of the rendering, not everything. I'll render only half, right? And do again, rendering. Sorry, keep forgetting, you gotta click on the right viewport. Okay, and render. So you can see this line, right? Go into a much, again, because sometimes you want the shadow to be more subtle, you know, not too sharp, you know. If you go, you know, even lower, right? It's right now it's 1. If I make it 0.3, which is, you know, much, you see how the sun got smaller, right? And I render again. Now we get a really crisp shadow line, right? If I make it very dramatic, you know, let's say we click here again and we make this size to be, I don't know, 20, right? That's really big. You see how the sun just became much larger, and I render again. There's a, you know, it's almost like faded, right? The sun, there's a very nice gradients. Again, this looks fake, that looks too blurry. So there is no perfect setting, but I typically, you know, leave it 1 or 2. I don't go any bigger than that. So I'm gonna put it for now back to 1, and we can render. So to me, that looks pretty good. You know, we can always modify it afterwards. So the sun, we can also do other things to the sun, you know, besides, you know, modifying the shadow sharpness. If you go click on the sun here, we have the color here. So we could modify the sun. Let's say if I put a filter, right? Imagine you have a camera and you put a lens filter, right? If I go here and I click there, I get, you know, this tab, you know, which is colored, you know, default is a white filter. That means that nothing's being added. This is natural. But if I decide to change and make it a red, you know, I give the sun a red filter and I go to render, what's gonna happen? Obviously the sky will not change, right? Because the sky is blue. But if I render the whole thing now, let me remove this. The sun is now casting a red light pretty much. So what is this good for?
Like
Okay.
certain time of the day, certain time of the years.
Yeah, so obviously I'm not gonna use red, but I might use like a very deep looking orange sun right here, right? And this is gonna exaggerate something like sunsets, you know, sunrise, right? You can get some nice colors in there, right? So you can use that, you know, once you're done, if you want, you can just go back to white, which means, you know, no filter being added. Color mode, right? So this, you know, this I wouldn't touch, you know, leave it as filter. So it means you can always use the color here to generate the sky here. And I wouldn't touch anything down here for now. Okay. How are we doing up to this point, guys? Any questions, problems?
Yes.
So I'm
No.
thinking silence means everyone's okay, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Okay. So let me just copy one thing here. So I'm copying something to your class folder for now. and then I'll go back to it. Again, for now, don't worry about checking the folder. I'll go over it afterwards. I'm just gonna put it there so you guys can see what's happening. It's Wednesday. Oh, today's Friday. I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong folder. Today is Friday. Okay, so let's talk about the next thing. So I want to bring here a sky that looks like a sky, meaning that it has clouds, that it captures, dramatic, cloud colors, that we can choose a night sky, that we can choose an evening sky. So we're gonna use a sky that that is controlled by material, right? And we're gonna apply the material to a shape that looks like a sky. So what shape, mimics the sky?
A rectangle.
A what?
Rectangle.
Rectangle? No. What else?
Circle.
Well, a sphere, right? So imagine again, our Earth, it's a sphere, right? It's a ball, right? So we're gonna make a shape, and we only need half that shape, So we're gonna cut the sphere in half, So I'm gonna give you guys a model, and I put that model already in your. Actually, let me share this here quickly. Stop sharing. Let me go back to something else. So this is your class folder here, right? So if I go back to the beginning, you guys have syllabus, videos, weekly renderings, and we have course material. So in this folder, I'm gonna be adding things, every week, to add to your, it could be 3D models, it could be materials, it could be furniture, right? These things. If you go here, I put already the first one here, which is called folder 01, Sky Dome, right? So this is a folder, it has, first of all, one 3D Max file, which is simply a sky dome, just a cylinder that's been cut in half. And you guys don't have to build it. We can just take it and add it to the file, right? And then we have all these different images, right? These are 360 panoramic images that are used to map to the sky, right? So if I click on the first one here, for example, and let me share that part. Okay, you guys see, this is a 360 sky of something in the evening, right? The next one shows same thing, but a little darker. Blue sky, dusk, sunsets, cloudy with sunsets, very dramatic sky, like, sunsets with a very strong color, some blue. And what else do we have? Yeah, so I mean, these are all showing different skies, right? They're just materials taken with a 360 camera, right? But we're gonna map them to a half sphere that's going to mimic the curvature of the sky, right? So this curvature is important because it makes it look more realistic when we render, our sky. All right, so let's see how we do this, right? Share, okay. So in a way, this is hard because I need to work on two screens. So let me see, actually, I'm not going to share my, I'm gonna share my whole screen. So it might look a little weird because it's a very wide angle screen, but it'll be just for one shot so I can showcase all the steps. So I'm gonna share screen one. Okay. So you guys should be seeing my entire screen, right? It's a very wide angle screens. And you can see my 3D Max file. And you can see on the right side, my folder, right? That has all the maps. And it has the file here for the sky dome, right? So we're going to go to your 3D Max file and maximize the top view. So we get this, and just zoom out, right? So there's my building, right? Plenty of space here. I'm gonna go to my folder here and click on Sky Dome and just drag it and drop it here, right? And then you have three options: open file, merge, and extract. If you do open file, it will close this file and open the sky by itself into a brand new file. If you do merge, it's going to merge that file with this file into one file. If you do extract, it's going to add the file, but it's still being linked to other file. So, so it's not really, so really cannot modify because it's technically not there. It's just being extract from something else. So which one do you think makes the most sense for us working?
Extract.
Merge. Because I want to be able to bring it here, combine it, and be able to modify it at the same time. So for the sky dome, we're gonna use merge, right? So just click merge once. This just do just close. Don't do anything here. Close that. Okay. And then there's the sky dome, right? If I go to move, right, it's simply, you know, this dome, right? And if I go to another view, let's go to my. Okay, at this point, I'm gonna stop sharing and go back to just one screen. Okay. I'm gonna go to my, let's see here. Let's try, okay, let's go up here. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna rotate it here. And you guys can see what's happening here. If I do F3, looks very bright, okay. I'll keep it as wireframe. It's simply just a half cylinder, you know, with the cavity inside. Nothing more than that, right? So we're gonna apply those sky maps to this shape. So they get mapped in 360, and then we get a you know, a very simple illusion of having the sky all around us. So once the sky dome is there, you want to take it and place it in the middle of your scene, right? So I'm gonna take it here and drop it right in the middle of my space, right? And if you check it on the left view, then you can see that the sky, again, is added to the horizon line, exactly at the bottom here. So there's no need to make it lower because really, we don't care what's happening on the other side. We're only gonna see mostly the parts up here, right? So again, no need to change the location, no need to change the size. Just drop it and put it in the middle of the scene, right? Okay. So when I do F3 for like a shaded view, everything looks white. So let me see if we can make a change here. I'm gonna go to standard here. So let me try high quality. No, let's go back to standard. Default shading, bounding box, hidden line. Okay. Play looks a little better, right? We can see, but yeah. But I don't know why it's looking so white. Viewport background. Oh, here, so.
Maybe the sun, it's direct to the
Yes,
thing.
you're right, yeah. So if you see when I go here to default shading, right, and I go to viewport background, right now we're set on environmental background. That means it's gonna show all the light exposure. So just change that to gradient color. See, so now we can see the background, we can see this kind of shape, you know. So once we have this shape here, how do I get the sky to be here? What do I do?
Change the material.
Yes, so let's do that. So let's go to our material tab, right? And we're gonna make a very simple, basic material. The sky doesn't need to be glossy or anything. It's just, it only needs a texture, nothing more. So let's go to the first tab here. Again, make sure you check over here. We're not using standard, we're gonna use V-Ray. So once you get this tab open, just go to V-Ray. And here we're gonna use the V-Ray MTL, which means V-Ray material. That's the basic default material. Double click it. Now I'm gonna give it a name. We'll call this Sky Dome. Sky Dome, that's fine, yes. And again, no need to change anything here, nothing at all. We're only gonna add a map for now. So go to maps and go to diffuse. And we're gonna find bitmap, okay? So here, be careful and don't get confused. This one here is called bitmap lookup. Don't use that one. Use the one called just bitmap. It's found under general. This one it's has other settings that we don't need. So, but when you open this file, when you said go to here, it somehow always starts looking this one here. Just scroll down and switch it to bitmap. Then we're gonna just look for the material. Go to your folder. Friday class. And here we have our choice of different skies. I'm gonna start with a blue sky. So use this one here. Double click it, and you should be able to see the sky over here, right? Next, at this point, just drag it, drop it here, right? And you see this guy, you know, there's a line here, but again, we're not gonna see it because we can always change we can always rotate the sky. And we go here, you know, took the sky and then mapped it, you know, all around, also on the inside. And it mimics, you know, a sky, you know. We can always, you know, pick the sky dome here. We can go to rotate and we can change, oops, not that one. We can change here how the sky looks, right? So at this point, you know, I can technically switch to my view. Let's say I'll go to, yeah, this one here, which is the upper view. We see the sky. So maybe in this case, let's move this camera a little back. I'm picking the front and back. Step back here. All right, so we can see here more sky, right? And the good thing is once we see it here, we can just click here and we can start to rotate it and kind of choose, you know, what clouds we want to see in our space, right? Okay, so let's say that I like this here and I do render. So now we have the next problem that we need to fix. What's happening here? Can you guys guess?
I think the
It's
sky.
blocking the sun.
Exactly, yes. Remember that this sky, it's a model, right? So this is a, you know, it's a shape, right? So that means that this shape is now acting like a hat, right? It's blocking the sun from casting, even though if you look at this view here, the front view, and the sun is technically inside the dome, again, this means nothing, right? Whether the sun is, whether the sun is there or there, it's the same thing. It matters nothing. This is just a control for you to see the sky and the sun, but the sun is technically all around here. So, so pretty much this thing is acting like a hat that's blocking the sun from, you know, casting any light. So we have to tell the sun to ignore this shape, right? So I'm going to just click in the sun, right, and go to the modify panel, and here it says exclude, right? So I'm going to exclude this shape from, you know, from existing in this scene. So I'm gonna click here, and on the left side you see every element found in this scene, right? So I'm gonna look for the one called Sky Dome 01 and use this arrow to bring it to this side. So now this element is not casting illumination and it's not casting any shadows. So to the sun, it's invisible, only to the sun. So do okay. Next, let's try to render again. Okay, so now it's casting light, but now that'll bring us to the next problem. What do you guys think is the next problem here?
The sky is like
The sky is, what's happening with the sky?
it's dark.
It's dark,
It's still
right?
dark.
Exactly, yeah. So, you know, a sky can't just be a material, right? I mean, I made this one here because you guys can see it, but a sky needs to do what also, besides just having the material? A sky does what also?
Illuminate.
Exactly. It glows, it illuminates, you know, and if the sky is blue, you're gonna get a blue light. If the sky is red, you're gonna get a very dramatic, you know, sunset light. So this sky right now is not glowing, it's just a material. So we have to do it in two parts, right? So let me go back to material tab here. This one here, that is just the sky dome, I'm gonna use to simply, so I can visualize what it looks like, right? But I'm gonna use a different material called a V-Ray light material that actually emits light. So, and these work together. So let's actually go here, right? And we'll go back to this tab here. And this time, we're not gonna use the V-Ray material here. We're gonna use the one up here. It looks like a white sphere. It's called V-Ray light material. So double click on that one. And this, you can tell it's a glowing sphere, right? This you can use to make any object glow. You know, I can make a sphere for one that can make it red. And it's gonna act like a red light, right? But in this case, I'm gonna leave it white, and I'm gonna load a material and have the material glow, right? So next to it, you know, under no map here, not the one down here under opacity, the one next to up here, I'm gonna click here, and I'm going to load, again, be careful and load the one called bitmap. I'm gonna load the same material as the other one. In this case, this full sky is blue here. So there's the material. The only difference between this and this is that this one is glowing. So whatever material you put will affect the light of the entire scene, right? So we have this applied there, and we have this one over here, right? This number controls the intensity of the material. So one is default setting, right? If I make it 20, now it gets, you know, very bright, you know. And the only downside here is that as you make it brighter, it just looks white. You can't tell really much detail, right? One is okay. Two, you can see it gets brighter. 3, 4. So I mean, so we have to render it to test it out, right? So for now, leave it as 1, right? And the next, I guess, problem is that once you apply this material to the scene, because it's a light material, it will always look white as the preview, right? So when I click on the sphere and I hit apply, it looks white, right? It doesn't mean that it's gonna render white. It just, for the preview of my screen, it looks white. And the downside is that I can't tell what the clouds look like, right? Because you can't. So what I do here is you apply this one first, right? Then you go to, I don't know, rotate, fix it here, get the clouds in the right location. Once you like how it looks, I click this one and I apply it, right? Because they're the same material and the same shape, this map will be applied in the same way. So it will look the same as the other one. And okay, so let's try to render this one here. So what happened to the sky now? It looks what?
It's darker.
It's dark here. So okay, so let's make a change. You know, let's make it here. Let's try 5, right? Let's render again. All right, so the sun's starting to become, you know, brighter, right? So 5 is, you know, not enough. So let's try 30. Render again. It's getting brighter, right? And there's no perfect setting, you know, just whatever you guys think looks correct. Let's try 60. I mean, the sky should be not only blue, you know, but it should feel like it's, you know, glowing, right? So 60 doesn't look too bad. I mean, if I were to make it, you know, let's say, you know, 100% here and render. At one point, it will start to become overexposed, you know, the sun, the sky. So, I mean, right now, you know, it's not bad, you know, the white in the clouds looks almost like it's glowing. So for me, you know, I might drop it down to like, let's say maybe 85%, render again. So it looks a little better, you know, you don't want the clouds to look like they're, you know, glowing lights. So, I mean, that's not really that bad, you know. And the good thing now is once you apply that, you can try different skies, right? For example, I can say, okay, I can take this one here and copy it here, right? I'm gonna change the name to Sky Dome Evening, right? And I'm gonna go here to the material and upload this very dramatic evening sky. I'll take this one here, drop it here. And yeah, I called it evening glow. So I know that that one's, you know, it's glowing. And I'm gonna put here again the same material, this one. First, I'm going to select this, you know, the sky. I'm gonna apply the basic one so that I can see what the clouds look like. Then I'm going to rotate it and try to capture something, you know, interesting. So maybe something like this. And then I'm gonna apply this one. You see how the light would change? Here it looks kind of blue, right? And here it looks kind of orange. I can take this one and apply it now and render again. You see how the whole sky would change the entire color of the scene, right? If I decide to render only half, right? So I'm gonna click on this region here, and I'm gonna select half the image. Half, right? And just quickly go here and select sky and change back to the blue sky and render again. We're gonna get, sorry. Let's click on the right one, okay. we're gonna get half blue sky and half, evening sky, right? And you can see that the light here does affect the material. In this case, again, we have only color, but it does has a blue tint to it. The wall has a more gray looking color because of the blue. Here becomes more like a brown color because of the red and the orange. And we can quickly start to make it look more realistic. And it's always better to be able to see, clouds in the background. It's more real than seeing just a simple, even though a simple blue sky is realistic, your eye wants to see, more information. So for now, I'm gonna put back this one. Oops. Let's put this one back here. Let me just arrange it a little bit here. I'm gonna get them like this. Then I'm gonna select it again, apply the blue one. Then I'll render. All right, so for now, I'm happy with the sky. We can always, once we go to the final rendering, we can always play with it and do, rotate it more and get a better scene. We can play with the exposure, but for now, it's a good enough setting that we can start rendering in more, we can start looking at other things in the scene here. Is this okay, guys? Did you find this process to be, complicated or tricky?
It's pretty straightforward, maybe.
It's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. One second, I'm just gonna save my file because in case. So at this point, save your file often. So say this is my file called Azuma House, Tadao Ando Professor. I'm gonna save it today as 9/25/20, right? And save it. Next week, I'm gonna save it as the next date and the next date, right? In your case, if you ever do a major change, do a quick save as and don't overwrite, just rename because you don't want to be able to lose anything in case if you keep saving over the same file and you make a mistake and something gets corrupted, then you have really no way to go back and fix it. Okay, so at this point, let me maximize this view over here, right? And right now, this sky is kind of annoying. It's blocking my view inside, and I really cannot work. So what should I do to this sky for now? Select it.
Hide it.
Yes. I'm going to select it, go to the display tab, and just do hide selected. So there it is. So I can now work here, right? Okay. All right, so I'm going to put a second folder into your class folder. So let me just give me a second to put it there. So we can talk about the next part. Okay, let me switch for a second here. And I'll go back to the class folder. Guys, give me 1 second. I'm getting a phone call. Just give me 1 second, okay? I'm just gonna say who it is and just say to call me back later. Sorry. All right, guys, let's continue here. So let me share the class folder again. Okay, so here, right now you guys have here 2 folders, one called Sky Dome, and I put a second one here called Concrete. So I put here a bunch of different materials that we can use for this house, and some of them are concrete tiles. Some of them are, actually let me make one big and I'll share it again because you guys can see better. Share screen. Okay. So again, there's different types. And again, this house, even though it's concrete, and it's very hard to find the exact material. So we're going to try to do it as close as possible. And if it's a different concrete, it makes no difference. It will still look good, So again, this has different types of, concrete tile. Some are darker, different colors, different patterns. Some of them have the material like this, and also includes this, which is the bump, right? Did we discuss bumps in last class? Guys?
No,
Yeah, a little
I
bit.
don't think so.
Okay, a little bit, right? We discussed?
Oh,
Or we didn't?
I forgot.
2 weeks feels like it. Yeah. Okay. We'll go over today in case, yes. All right. So again, it has a bunch of different materials. They're all really high quality. And, again, this is the main file and this is the bump, right? And the bump file is just, it highlights certain elements, right? So obviously this part here is the grout, right? The tile. So anything black in a bump means that it's a recess element, right? Anything white means no change, and anything in between, light gray going to dark gray, the darker it is, the more stronger the bump is going to be, right? And it's a bunch of different, this is like a very typical Tadao Ando concrete, and we have this one, and we have, other shapes of concrete, and also we have the bump for those things. So again, this you guys can use for this project. You can save it, for other projects. And I'll try to give you guys more material as we go through the semester, so you guys can start to build up your own library. Okay, I think for today, well, first of all, let's look at what this house looks like and try to find the closest looking concrete, right? Let's go back to the Azuma House. Let me find the photographs and share. Okay, so it's again, it's not for now. I think what I can tell here is the concrete is pretty much horizontal, right? Looks at the panels are like this, right? So they're just a rectangle piece. So I need a material that has rectangular size panels, and that's pretty much it, So let's see what we have in our materials tab here to look at this. Let me go back to my folder. And share. So this one is one of the ones included in that folder, right? So I think we can, this is a vertical looking panel concrete. I think we're gonna use this one here. These are horizontal panels, right? And it also has, a bump for this. I mean, you guys can always, create your own, material, right? If you find a nice image, you can go to Photoshop and start to make something like this, right? These ones I've been using for a long time, even in Japan when I was working for Kengokuma, these were we use in all our renderings. So there should be pretty good quality materials for you guys to use. So we're gonna use this one and probably also this bump, right? So we can highlight those tiebacks and those little panels between each section, right? So let's go back to our 3D Max. And the time is now 10 a.m. Okay. You guys need a break already? You guys tell me.
Yes, please. For
Yes.
5 minutes.
All right, so let's take a 10-minute break, okay? Guys, come back around 10:10 and we'll continue with the lecture, okay?
Professor.
Okay.
Was there a question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
How did we sign up for Dropbox again? There was a website.
I sent you an invite to the Dropbox folder. You didn't get it?
I know, but it signed me out automatically.
Okay.
And I'm trying to sign in, but I forgot how to do it again because it wasn't collaborating with my second email.
I mean, that's part of the login. So if you forgot your password, you can request to have it reset. Or if you want, I can send you a new invite to Dropbox if you have a new email to use or something like that.
Oh no, it was the old email, but we had to go to CUNY and then log in with our CUNY account.
To have the CUNY account for Dropbox, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How did we do that again? What was the way?
To set it up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did I think I might have copied. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to drop a file into the chat, right? Just take it from there, and that file includes the instructions, so you can set that up.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, let me see if I can put it right now. Let's see. Right now, I'm talking. Sorry. Right now, who am I talking to? Sorry, because I'm not used to looking at
Oh,
that.
it's Chriselle.
Okay, sorry. Okay, let me just put this to everyone, so in case. And try this. Okay, did you get the file? It's a Dropbox PDF file.
No, I didn't get it yet.
It was sent to everyone. Check on the chat for the class.
Maybe it was.
I mean, it's showing that it went out to everyone in the class right now. No?
No, I didn't get it yet.
Okay.
Is it in like a junk email? No, it's not in junk.
No, but it's not going to your email. It's going to the classroom chat, the Zoom chat.
Oh,
So,
the Zoom chat.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So go on the Zoom and go to the group chat, and I dropped the PDF. You can just download it from there directly.
Group chat. Right. Okay. Let me see if I could use my other computer because it's not working. I'm trying to. Okay.
You got it?
Crazy.
I didn't get anything.
Okay, let me see if I can send you directly to you. So again,
Yeah.
right now we're.
Yeah, me too, Professor. I don't see it.
But I just sent it to everyone in class. No. Okay. Let me try again.
If you guys are on mobile, you guys can see it.
Did you get it, Roy? Yeah.
Yeah, I have it in my chat.
Okay. Yeah, it should have gone. I put everyone in the chat, and if you go to the chat, I don't know, screen, right?
The group chat
Yes.
bar.
Exactly. Yes, it should be there.
Yeah, it's not showing up for me.
Okay, let me try to send you directly to you. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm gonna put to Chriselle, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll put again the file. Let me try.
Sorry, Professor.
That's all right. No worries. Let me find it here again. Well, now it's not letting me add anything here. Okay. Okay, maybe I'm just gonna send you to your email, Chriselle. Can you just post it quickly on the chat so I can just copy and paste and I'll send you right away?
Yeah.
All right, no problem.
Can you send it to me, Professor?
Okay. I'm just gonna send to the whole class. I think it'll be easier.
Okay.
I'm just gonna make I'll make a class email right now and put it as a backup. Yeah, because imagine that everyone might still need it. Okay, give me a second. City Tech.
I sent my email, Professor.
Okay, thank you. So that email, I don't have it on record. The one that you put on the chat. Are you using a different email?
Remove the 70. I'm sorry.
That 70 you don't need?
Yeah, I don't need the 70.
So did you have 2 email accounts for school or no?
No.
Okay.
I got confused in my login.
Got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry about
No
that.
problem. Okay. So right now I'm sending us an email to the whole class. Just check your email. Okay, so it went out. So let's hopefully you'll get it.
I got it, Professor.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so we'll start in a few minutes. I think we can start, again, it's all being recorded, so this wouldn't have a large pause. So I imagine you guys are still there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just keep going, yeah. Okay. So ideally today, what I really want to cover, I wanted to cover the Sky Dome. We did that, all the basic setup, so you guys have a nice recap to keep work going. Set up a few cameras and apply some, at least a few materials in the house, and you guys can keep applying the other ones. Really, we only have, it's not that hard. We only have 5 materials in this house, so it shouldn't be that hard to apply the other ones, right? So let me share. Okay, and we'll start with the very simple materials first, and move forward to the the more complex ones. And okay, so let's go here. Everyone can see me, right? The screen.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So let's start here. So let's look at this over here. We have 5 materials in this project. We have, everything is pretty much concrete. We have glass, right? Which is these panels. We have a metal frame. It's like a black frame. We have a wood floor above, and the lower floor is like a concrete tile. Those are the 5 basic materials. So from those, let's start with making glass, because glass, right now everything looks solid. So if I click on this element here and do right click and do isolate, we can focus on just these glass elements. And before, I kind of selected everything and I did group, right? So I went up here and I grouped it. I can click it again and go to group and ungroup. And now we have all the individual elements. But because I know that they're all going to be the same material, I don't have dark glass or light glass. They're all the same glass. I'm just going to select all of them. I'm going to group them, and I can apply, and I'm going to call this glass, right? So let's make our glass, right? So I know last class we made glass, so let's try again. We're going to go to an empty sphere. Let's go to V-Ray material. We'll call this glass. Okay. And how about you guys walk me through the steps of making glass, right? So under diffuse, what color should I use here?
The color should be lighter, like lighter gray.
Okay, actually it should be the opposite. It should be darker.
Oh, darker.
Yes, it's okay. So darker, it makes for a better, more, it feels like a much cleaner glass, element. So let's make it like a dark charcoal, right? Then we have reflect, so is glass reflective?
Yes.
It is, right? But before we do anything, don't forget to uncheck this element here. Fresnel is for anything that is not perfectly smooth. So glass is, very smooth. So I'm gonna uncheck Fresnel, right? And reflect, again, black means no reflection. White means a mirror, right? It's completely reflective. So we're gonna go something in between. So something in the, gray here. And we can see that, now this element is very glossy, right? And then we have the glossiness here. This controls the, whether it's very smooth or if it starts to become something like a matte finish. In this case, glass is meant to be very smooth, so we're gonna leave it as 1. And we're gonna move down to refract. Refract controls what? Anyone?
The transparency.
Yes. So black means solid and white means completely transparent. So I'm gonna go down to, I won't go to, just very close to the, to the white and do okay. So now we can see our preview here. We have, pretty nice, sheet of glass. This glass has no color, so we're not worrying about those things, and we can just close it. I mean, later we can always come back, once we do a test rendering, and we can make it more glossy, less glossy. For now, this is our basic, standard, glass. Okay. And the next thing is we're gonna take this glass and apply it to our scene, right? Let's see here. So let me take this, and we're just gonna, drop it into this area. And because you see when I dropped it, I went to this individual element, right? In this case, because it's grouped, just simply select the group, right? And don't drag and drop, just do here, assign material to selection. So, and that should apply to everything. So at this point, let's do and isolate. And now, this should look, transparent. We can see that there's glass there. And we can do a check, maybe we'll, let's do a rendering here. Again, there's no sky right now because we hit the sky before. But we can see that, there is glass there. There is some amount of reflection, right? Later, we can worry about, being more reflective or less. For now, it gives us more detail. What's the other material that's also very simple to create, from the images? That doesn't require, much work.
Concrete or wood?
Yes, one more, actually. The window frame, right? The window frame is just black metal, right? So if I click on the window frame here and right click and isolate, these are all the window frames. And again, this is it's just a black matte material, so not too complex to make. So let's go here and we're gonna call this, first go to V-Ray material. We'll call this just frames. All right, so frames, let's get close to here. Frame is gonna be a black frame or maybe like a dark charcoal. So we're gonna use the diffuse here. We're gonna make it, like this. Maybe we'll go closer to black. Okay. And it is a metal frame, so technically it is a little bit glossy, right? So I'm gonna remove in this case, the Fresno. Well, let's see what it looks like. We can try different options. Right now, if I make it more reflective, again, it's not meant to be, if you guys can imagine a glass frame, right? It might be a little bit glossy. It's more a matte finish. It's not gonna be like this, like a mirror finish. So we could make it a little bit glossy like this, and then we could try to lower the glossiness number. 1 is very smooth. We can make it 0.7. It starts to become like this, kind of a more like rough looking paint, right? Which doesn't look too bad. If we turn on Fresno reflections, looks a little, it becomes more of a really matte material, it's not really glossy. We could increase the number here from 0.7 to 0.8 to get more of this defined edge. But it's really a preference, do you guys like this? It still feels too much like metal. 0.7. Don't want to go below, so I think I'm gonna keep it as Fresno. This will make it as 0.8. Let's try 0.9. And I'm gonna make it a little bit less glossy, so I'm gonna go a little bit higher here. Again, for now, it's a good base material. We can always come back and and make it make a change afterwards. But for now, let's leave it like that. We'll make it a little darker. It is like a very dark. So let's make it black. It is a black frame. So, and I'm just gonna click on the whole group, right, and apply. then we can do and isolate. So usually when I have a lot of things, I like to select the object and isolate it before I apply. So I know that I'm selecting the correct element, right? So we already have the glass applied. We have the metal frame applied. We can do always a quick check here and see what it's looking like. And we can see that, yes, the black frames are added. It's still very colorful, but those things, we'll add those things afterwards. So actually, I might leave the, we have the inside the wood floor, right? Downstairs is the tile concrete floor, and everything else is pretty much this concrete. So we know that these two walls, right, are going to be, so let's try to apply to these two walls, our main concrete material, right? So let's make that one. So again, right now I have no more space here, so I'm just gonna move to the next area and go here. And I'm going to select again V-Ray material. And I'm gonna call this, because again, I might make more than one concrete depending where I'm going to apply it. So I'm gonna call this main walls concrete. So this, we're gonna rely not on color, but on actual material. So we have to go down to maps, and we're gonna load something for the diffuse and something for the bump, right? So under diffuse, we'll go to bitmap, right? Not bitmap lookup. And let's go to my material folder that I gave you guys. And I'm gonna pick the one that had the horizontal looking. So let's go to large icons. So it was this one here. And I need also the bump. So we have here, what's the difference here? Concrete. So I'm gonna use the one called Concrete Meiji 5. And I'm going to use the Concrete Meiji Bump 2, right? So let's first add this one. We can see that it's being added there. It looks pretty good. And then let's go back out again here and go to the bump. So here. Again, for this, I can just do this. I can take this one, I can drag it and put it in bump, right? Do copy, and then go inside here and just go to the location, just update it to show the bump, right? So this case, this one here, Concrete Meiji Bump number 2. And you see that we should have a more defined edge to this line coming here and to those elements there. And again, right now by default it's 30. If I make it, let's say 300, what you get are, you see a much more defined, bump. For now, let's just leave it at 30. And once we render, we can go back and, increase the bump if we have to. All right, so this material, for now, it's very simple. All we have is two different elements. We have the diffuse that controls what it looks like, the bump that controls the how much it'll be pushed in or out. And is concrete glossy, guys?
No.
Or it's not glossy, but it is reflective, right? Because
Yes.
because concrete, it is used. So let's see if we can look at a sample here. Where is it? Okay, here. Let me share. All right, so let's look at these pictures again. Let me find something. So even inside here, right, you guys can see that, yes, concrete it's not really glossy, but because it's cast, then there are parts, it will reflect certain elements like this, It's not a perfectly mirror finish, right? But it is reflective. We can see detail here. We can see how it reflects the light in the space, right? We can see how it's a little bit reflected there, So the very abstract looking reflection, right? We can see how it reflects the color here, the parts of the floor. So, and even here, how we have a light bounce from the top there. So, it depends on the scene, but yeah, here is maybe less visible, but it's close enough. We can see that we have the glass, the black frame, and okay, so let's leave it there. Let's go back to this view. All right, so let's go back here. So because it's concrete, then I will have Fresnel selected because it's not meant to be a super glossy surface. So we'll keep it on. We'll give it some reflection. So go to the reflect part, and I make it a little bit gray. We can see here a very slight, if I make it more, here to this little area, this kind of mimics the light. So I don't want too much of that. So I'm gonna make it somewhere here, and we can see it a little bit there, right? Next, I will modify the glossiness. In this case, I'm gonna make it 0.7 to make it more rough. So that's kind of gone now. We can maybe give it a little bit more glossiness. Let's do 0.8. Again, there's no perfect setting. I'm just gonna go up and down, see what looks better. So 0.8, okay, 0.9. Gives me a little bit of reflection there. So I'm gonna stay with 0.8 for now. So I'll leave it as 0.8. Reflect will make it, you know, a little bit. So let's make it less. Let's make it a little bit darker gray. And for now, I think that's pretty good. You know, I'm not gonna change anything else. Let's see here. Okay, so let's close that for now. I mean, right now, you know, I'm doing things here. This gives me a pretty good preview, but I won't know until I hit render. So, you know, so first go and apply materials, you know, and try to, you know, get the settings how you think they will rely. But in the end, you will have to render and then look at the image, you know, and go back and make changes, you know, to the materials. All right, so that's made. So let's just let's go back here. Let me maximize this view. And let's look at each wall individually. So I'm gonna pick this wall here, right click it and isolate, right? And I'm gonna start by applying the material to this wall, right? So I'm gonna take this one here, drag it and drop it here. So first of all, the wall turns gray, right? Okay, so I click here, show material. I think this should be looking blue, so I mean it is correct. So if I get very close, do I see anything? No, right, nothing happened there. All right, so let's try to click the object, go to the modify panel, right? And under the modify list, let me add the UVW map. Okay, there it is, the material is there. I'm gonna give it a box modifier, which is the closest shape to, you know, this element. Next, let's try to add the map scaler. So we can try to scale this material and see what that looks like. Okay. Doesn't look bad. It is. Okay, so let's try it now to scale it up. Okay. In some parts, we can see, right, these are the panels are horizontal, right? They have to be much bigger. And actually, we can try to do a quick estimate here. Let me close this. Again, they don't have to be exactly the same, but we can guess, right? And we can see here that, you know, this picture here that we have almost a half a panel there. And between the top here, one panel seems to align exactly with the roof line here. And then we have 1, 2, and the third panel aligns pretty much with the floor height. So that's a pretty good estimate. So I'll try to make 3 panels between the top of the roof and the bottom of the floor here. Again, doesn't have to be exactly, you know, a very rough estimate is fine. Let's go back here. So for that, you know, I need a little bit more data here. So let me just end isolate, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm gonna select this element, select this piece, and this, and isolate. Okay, so we have now these things here. One second, guys. Okay, so let's see. So now let's go back to here, right? Click that on the concrete material, and let's play a little bit with the maps scaler here. So I'm gonna make it a little bigger here. I'm trying to get at least this line to align with the top here, and the other line to align with, let's say, the floor. So something along here. So am I going up? I think I'm going down here. Okay, I'm gonna use these ones here to go down. So one of them is aligned here. We can see a line there, and this aligns. So we have 1, 2, that's pretty close for now. You know, you can always try it. You know, you can zoom in closer. For now, because of the class, I won't spend too much time. You know, I'll get it as close as possible. For this, I'm happy with the results. And we can check, is there anything aligning here vertically? Let's check quickly the image. And I'm also gonna give you guys those images afterwards for you guys to also use as reference. If you want, you can search for more images online, you know. And we have, yes, we have like a vertical line going, you know, pretty close to this one here. So let's try to put that line there. Let's go here to, again, share. And this line here, I want to get it to be a little bit closer here. So I'm going to select this, go to the map scaler, and I think we use this one, yes. Something like that. You know, we have this thing aligned here. And maybe I'll push it a little bit more out. Okay, for me, that's pretty good. You know, ideally, you know, you want to work this in 2 screens because one screen you can have max open, and the other screen you will have reference images at the same time. So it's very easy to for the workflow, if it's possible for you guys to have that. If not, then it's fine. Okay, so that's pretty good for that. The alignment looks pretty good. I don't see any problems with the material. Let's just do the same now for the other side, right? So let's do and isolate. Let's click on this one and this one at the same time, right click it and isolate, because ideally these are the same panels, right? So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna click on this one, again, apply the material. And next I'm gonna copy these settings over to this one here. So how that's done is simply click on this element, right? And we see that we applied there a map scaler and we applied also a UV map, right? So first we apply the UV map. So click on UV map and drag it over here. Actually, no, we can do everything at the same time, because, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so let's go here. So UV map, just drag it over and drop it on this object. It's gonna copy over the same settings, right? Then go back to the other one, go to the map scaler, drag it over and copy it here. So that's gonna copy the same settings also. Otherwise, you will have to go here and do, control copy, control paste, try to get it exact. But now we know that these two panels are equally the same, right? It should be the same settings for there. So I can do and isolate and, well, close enough, it looks like here's different, yeah. Let me see here. So it's not the same there. Okay. So that might require something else. So let's see if we can fix that. Let's go to, yeah. Well, for now, let's render. Let's see what this looks like before we do anything else. Okay. So it doesn't look bad. I see a problem with the material. Can you guys spot it or something that I don't like?
With the glass, I think there's something problem with the glass. It's very dark.
Yes, because right now there's no light inside the space, so it looks like a mirror. Also, I think the glass, right? I think the glass, we can see that it's maybe too reflective, right? See how we see pretty much too much of the outsides. So we can always go back to the glass. So at this point, I can go back to the glass and make it less reflective, right? And try it again. What do you think of the concrete? I would try to correct one thing for now. Can you guys guess or what it is? No?
Yeah, it's the proportion. It's like distorted.
The proportions, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we can correct it. But I think more important, I would try to correct I think the bump, right? I feel that bump here is too strong, right? So I'm going to go to the material tab and let's look at it again here, what we have here. I think for this one, we had it as 30, right? So let's just drop it by, let's make it 10, And let's just, I'm gonna do a region here and just do a little piece over here. Okay, I mean, I do wanna see a little bit of bump, right? You see, but I don't want it to be so excessive that it becomes fake, right? So that one looks pretty good. Let me try the whole thing. You see also how this color, right, also affects the, the material, right? The purple, again, when the light hits it, it'll bounce off and will affect, the whole scene there. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so how are you guys doing right now? Okay, or?
Good.
Good, okay, all right. So at this point, let me test out, another area. Let me go back to the other camera I have. So lower camera, and let's render here. Again, as you put more materials, it's gonna look better because obviously right now we have all these colors here that are looking a bit, strange. Okay, and right now, I don't know about the, I'm not happy with the reflection, but with that, we'll get it honed down as we, the first thing I want to do here is I want to be able to map the entire space, right? And then once everything's mapped, then I'm gonna get the correct lighting, right? Because right now we have this green here, this purple, that make the scene look very fake, right? So one thing I noticed, definitely the glass is too glossy, right? So I'm just gonna make a quick change to the materials here and go to my glass, right? And go to reflect and, maybe go half the way here. And let's try again to render this view. See if that makes a difference. Okay, it feels a little better. I can see more of the interior space that's there, right? Let's look back to our images for a second. Let's see here, and let's find something. So we can see here that this is like a tile, right? This could be the same concrete, it's close enough. Same concrete here. This is like a concrete tile. Okay, so that we know that. Inside is some type of wood floor. Again, doesn't have to be the exact same floor. It's glossy and those things, but here's a different floor. Oh, this is a good shot actually. You can see here that this is actually the concrete is pretty reflective, right? You can see how it's really showing the light, the glossiness a little bit. So maybe we'll make it a little bit more glossy, afterwards. I want to put something on the ground. So here, so we have some type of square looking tile here, right? I'm guessing it's a 1 foot tile, but it could be, yes. Let's say, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So about 10 feet, right? So yeah, so let's guess it's like a 1 foot tile. Then we have the same concrete on this wall, and looks like the inner part of the stairs are different looking, concrete. I mean, this, you could spend ages here mapping every individual element. We're not gonna try that, I think once we get the right material, we can apply to, most of the things and get a better, area. For now, let's try to map, this, right? Because it's making a big effect on everything. So some type of concrete looking tile. Again, let's go back to our folder, right? So let me share again. Okay, so let's go to my material tab and here, right? So let's go to, let's call this, well, before that, let's just add a new material, V-Ray material. We'll call this lower floor tile, right? Just to be clear. Let's go to the maps, go to diffuse, bitmap, and let's see our choice here. So this is not bad. That's not bad too. Again, if you don't like what you have here, you can always take this material to Photoshop, right? And you can change the, the material. You can make it darker, right? For now, again, I don't want to take up too much of the class. I'm just going to make it this one here, right? That looks pretty close to me, right? So I'm going to use this one. And this one also has a bump. You see over here, right? This bump can be used for any of those materials. But there's this one, that, or any of those. So I'm going to use that concrete arai and the concrete heiban. Again, this is just Japanese names, but they're bump, right? You're free to rename these things afterwards. Okay, so let's use this one. I'm gonna maximize it so you guys can see better. That's nice looking concrete. Let's go here. So this, it is obviously a little bit reflective, so I'm gonna make it a little bit here. We'll keep it Fresnel. I'm gonna make glossiness 0.9 for now. Let's go back down to this. I'm gonna take and copy this over to bump as a copy. Go inside the folder and we're gonna just relink it to the correct material. In this case, the bump. And which, there we go. So we now have a nice material. I'll keep it for now as a default setting, which is 30. Let's see. Yes, have that 30. And okay. Let's try to apply it here. Again, this is where it gets a little tough because it's very hard or cramped to look in here. So I'm going to try to, yeah, so I'm gonna take this wall, and this one here, and going to isolate those things so that I can see actually here more detail between. And I know that it's about 10 tiles across, right? Again, with those things, Max is not really made to be precise. So if it's 10 and a half, 10, again, this is not AutoCAD, Rhino, or Revit, we're here to capture an image. So if you're off by an inch or 2 inches, no one's going to ever know, so there's no point in trying, to be, that exact with these things, So let's take this one and drop it here, right? Okay. Next, we'll select this, give it a UVW map. I think we can use planar here. This is a plane, right? No. Yeah, let's use planar for now. And we apply now a map scalar. Okay, perfect. And now let's scale this to be roughly 10. How many do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So perfectly, no need to make any changes. I'm surprised, but again, you guys can always go to the scale here, up and down, to make the changes. Let's now do N isolate and see the whole thing again. And let's try and render, see what this looks like. So, with every material, it will look more realistic. The lighting will look much better because, and it might become darker, the rendering, because these materials absorb light, right? And if you add dark materials, it absorbs more light. So later we can, work on adding more lights, but your scene will definitely get darker as you add more materials. And for now, that looks pretty good to me. And I think this staircase is made in 2 parts. So I believe there's yes, so there's the inner part is there, and there's the outer part, which is this wall here. So you can apply 2 different materials to that. And at this point, it's just a matter of going through every element and trying to map it right. So I think at this point, maybe I'm gonna add a 3rd camera. So I'm gonna take the camera that is upstairs, which is this one here. So like both sides, I'm gonna copy it. So I will do, shift. I'll drag it here. And I'm gonna call this upper, I don't know, upper bedroom, upper, I don't know. Okay, right, for now, upper space. You guys can give it a different name. Upper space and do copy. And let's just see what that looks like. Upper space, okay, so again, in this view, I don't wanna feel like I'm standing, right? I wanna feel like I'm relaxed, so I'm gonna lower the camera so it feels like you're maybe at the same level as a chair, right? And let's change this from left view to, let's try front, so we can see better here, right? And move this down. Again, I wanna lower where, I wanna see more floor, right? So I feel that I'm closer to the, imagine you could be sitting in a chair, and later we can, again, eventually we'll add other props like chairs and furniture to bring it to life. Right? For now, let's look at this here. So something like this, right? Let's look at the rendering. And this is a good step because once you're inside, you're gonna be able to see the reflective quality of the material, right? Outside is more difficult, right? Can you guys see on this wall the quality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys can see across here a little bit of purple from this roof, right? We can see here a little bit of purple from this part over here, a little bit green here from this part, a little. So again, it's you get a better, more accurate expression inside than outside because outside is more light. So again, we have the ceiling and we have the floor. So the ceiling actually, I think the ceiling is also concrete, right? Let's see. So we have this here. Let me find a shot here that we can use. Yeah, it's all the same concrete. Looks like it's the same, same one, right? Looks like it's the same panel looking concrete, right? Yeah. I mean, it does align here, but for now. Okay, so you can use the same material for the ceiling and for the other parts. Here we're gonna use a wood material. So in that case, it's not that difficult to do. So at least today in class, I want to accomplish at least to map the top ceiling and the bottom here. And then you guys can keep working on your own, afterwards and use the video to go through every step. So let's first do the wood because here we can probably use the same material. So it'll be an easy application. So let's go to the material tab again. All right, let's again move to the right. We need more space. Let's see. Okay, let's go here. Go to beaver material. We'll call this wood floor. Let's go down to maps. Again, at one point it becomes second nature because you go into the same steps over and over again, bitmap. And at this point, let's go back. Do we have anything here? No, so there's nothing here for, so let's go back here and go to the, okay, there's nothing there. Okay, so let me copy something else for you guys now. Give me a second. One second, I just gotta find it. Okay. One second. All right, so I copy a bunch of things. So let's go back. So we're still looking at 3D Max here. So if I go back here on the course material, I put, where is it? Let's try again. Course material. Oh, sorry, I had the wrong name. Let's try again. Let's go here. Let's go back to the material here. Friday. I'm sorry, I put it in the wrong class. Put it in the other class. One second. What did I do? One second, I just copied the wrong thing. What happened? Almost got it. Okay, I think I'm gonna just copy one thing for now here, and I put the rest afterwards. So this way, I'm just gonna, you know, have to organize this. So let me just copy a wood material into your folder, and I put the rest afterwards. So I just dropped the material into the concrete folder for now. So let me share again my screen. Okay, so if we go back here again to this, here we go to the folder location. Here's your, you know, your class folder. You have the course material, concrete up. I just dropped this material inside there for now. And for today, you know, put a very basic material, you know, this. Next time in class, you know, we'll go into detail and try to make our own bump for this, right? For now, let's just, you know, try this and see what it looks like in the scene. We can always go back and change the material afterwards. And we'll try different ones so we can see how the material changes the whole, you know, atmosphere. So we'll do this one here. And let's make it a little bit glossier, the material. So let's just, so this, I might just make let's remove the Fresnel so we make it a nice glossy material. We'll make it only a little bit reflective, so not too much. You can see here it's fairly glossy there. If we play with the glossiness, let's say 0.9, it removes, it gives a little bit of bump to the glossiness, which is nice. So it's not so perfectly smooth. And we could, for now, you know, since we don't have a bump material for this, we could always, in case you don't have a bump, you know, you can take the same one and drop it into the bump area. It won't be as precise because it's not black and white, but it will still give it a little bit of bump. You guys can see here, right? And we get some more wood grain showing there.
That looks so much better.
Good. And let's see if we can modify this. So, you know, 0.9, let's make it 0.95. If we do 1, all right, let's leave it for now 0.9, right? All right, let's close this. Let's select, let's close this viewport. Select that, materials. And let's apply this one. All right, we can't see anything there, that's fine. We have to apply the UV map. There we go, that looks weird, but we apply. Okay, first of all, let's just apply the map scaler. That should correct the material. Okay, perfect. As for the size, you know, you can go bigger, smaller, not sure. For now, I think bigger is better. And I forgot if, I assume it's going in this direction, because it kind of has better flow. Let's see what this, how this changes the whole scene. All right, so that's, to me, probably too glossy. So I'm gonna make a change to it. But again, we do see a little bit of grain, right, over here because of the bump that we added. Even though it's a very simple bump, right, we do see, and it's nice to see, you know, the grain here. So first of all, okay, it's too glossy. Okay, let's make the change. You know, it's an easy fix. Let's open the material tab. Click here. Let's go to reflect, and we don't need that much. Let's go a little bit darker there. Let's try Fresnel, right, for a second. Let's see what happens with Fresnel. Let's make it a little more glossy here. We'll keep Fresnel on, and let's compare Fresnel. Okay, it's still glossy, but it's not as glossy as before. We do see a nice, you know, these pillars being shown here, right? And we see the lights, you know, the windows being reflected here. So this to me is a little bit more realistic than having everything too glossy. It is dark because, you know, right now the sun is probably if the sun was coming through here, it actually might look better. So let's see if we can get that. Let's see here. So our camera's over here. So that means we're gonna have to put our sun along this side so that it starts to, yes, I'm gonna put it here like this. So it's gonna come through here Here, so maybe we'll make this one. We'll change the sun angle. So it's gonna come in through here. And see if that looks a little better. Well, that made a huge difference. Maybe that's too much sun, but so that's coming, again, I still want some parts to be in shade, so let's just make the sun be a little higher. Okay, like this, kind of like a small highlight. What I like here is you guys see when the sun hits the floor, right? The floor has a certain color, right? In this case, reddish, orange color, right? You see how that color will bounce off and start to make this wall look more realistic or more
Brighter, yeah.
Exactly. It makes that concrete feel softer, right? So it's not so cold, right? It gives it a nice warm feeling to the space, right? So, you know, having the right light, you know, having the sun come in, again, that's probably the hardest. I mean, applying material, yeah, it's tricky, but it's easy, right? The hardest thing is moving the sun, getting the right shadow. You don't like it, move it again, render again. You know, it's just getting that perfect light that makes the room, you know, glow, right? That's probably what takes the most time, right? The glass looks better, right? We can see that is glossy. We see the windows being shown here. We can always go back, you know, actually what we're missing here is the sky dome, you know. Let me go here to display and unhide all. So there's our sky dome. See if that makes a difference in the scene. So I think that I like that because, yeah, again, we get the cloud, the nice sky, the blue tone here. When it goes inside, you get a nice orange looking tone, right, in the space. There is, you know, reflection here. So, I mean, it's not really, you know, so it's a great starting place, you know. So it makes you really be very careful here and play with the materials and look at the lighting, right? So I think, you know, by next class, we'll probably be able to finish mapping the whole thing, right? And we can start looking at, you know, details about, you know, adding props, adding chairs, you know, what can we do so we can relate more to the scene, right? So for next class, you know, I want you guys to, you know, try to accomplish this far. If you can more, right? And set up your 5 cameras, right? In your scene, right? And just, you know, capture those 5 cameras, you know, with you know, so render those 5 cameras. So next class, we can look at those renderings through the whole class, and we can, I can start to critique you guys and give you more advice in every, you know, every shot. So I think I'll finish the class here today. I'm not going to add any more. But you know, with this, you know, you'll be able to, you know, be able to catch up, you know, and we can go back and schedule, you know, with the rest. So let me save everything I did before I forget. Any question, guys?
Yeah, so you're gonna give us a blank file, and we have to add our own material, right?
I'm gonna for now add the, you know, whatever I added, you know, in that folder, right? So there'll be a folder called course materials, and there you have all this, the concrete, the wood, you know. For now, use all this. In the next project, right, we'll do more custom materials, right? But for now, I think we're still learning about material. In this case, use whatever I give you guys for the house.
Okay.
So Professor,
yeah,
you only want us to have the views and material set up, right? Do you want us to actually render and submit the render?
Yes,
submit the render.
Yes,
okay.
I want you guys to render whatever you have, even if it's not finished, because I want those things to capture the progress of this project, you know, from the beginning. So later you can compare your first rendering to your last rendering, and because it's the same shot in the same angle, you know, it looks very good in the portfolio, and it shows, you know, let's say potential employer that, you know the process of, you know, getting everything done.
You want us to capture the same shots?
For now, yeah, for now, try to capture. What did I do today? Today I did 3 shots, right? So yeah, put those 3 and add 2 that you want, whatever you want in the scene. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to add more than 5, you can add as many as you want, you know, but at least have those 5 renderings for next week.
Cool.
Okay.
Professor.
Yes.
I think I still have same issue for the render.
What problem?
Even though I re-download, it's still sending.
It's did you get V-Ray from the V-Ray site?
Yes.
Okay, so it could be that it needs to be authenticated. I think someone had that problem in class today. And they were saying that once it gets authenticated, it's gonna fix the V-Ray issue.
No, I do the same thing.
Okay, can
It
you share
doesn't.
can you share your screen again? So let me stop sharing right now and let me see what it says again. Okay, so yeah, so again, you're clicking on the wrong rendering. It should be the one with the looks like a Thunderbolt. Yes. Okay. So okay. Yes. Okay, there. Go to settings, right? Let's see settings. So it said there. It says it says GUI license error minus 200. The Chaos Group license server could not. So this is the problem here. So it means that your license is not yet authenticated. License settings file there. So we need to choose reopen to the max change. So edit. Go to. So this part I'm not sure how this done, but what this means is that your license, even though you installed it, is not connecting to the Chaos Group server, which means that it cannot be authenticated. Did anyone have this problem in class and get it resolved?
Yeah, I did. I think they send you.
Could you tell us how you fixed it? Yeah, maybe, or
Yeah,
can you show?
I'm trying to look for it right now.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because this I'm not sure how to address this, but I know that students have been able to resolve it quite easily. So let's see if yeah, if you can.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So it's just an email that they send.
Okay, so can you put the email in the chat for the class, or if I don't know, can you save it as a PDF maybe?
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think you have to just follow the link and then sign in, and then you'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Professor?
Yes.
I had I don't know. Sometimes I feel I don't know how to put the camera in the right position.
Okay. So you mean like after you put the camera, is it hard to move it, or?
No, like the last assignments that you gave us.
Yes.
I feel that the camera is not in the right position because when I render it, it gives me a gray somehow background. A little bit.
Okay. Do you want to share your screen so I can take a look at it?
Let me share.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see, Professor?
Not yet. Give it a second. Okay, I can see it. Yes.
Yeah, it's not like yours. I have here a gray background.
Oh, that's fine. So that gray background means that's the horizon line, right? But that's where the sky meets the ground, right? And right now you can see it because your camera is very high. If you lower the camera a little more to be like at a horizon level, you won't see that. So that's not a big issue. It's because in this image, right? You don't have a very large ground plane, right? It's a very small area, so that means it doesn't go all the way up to the horizon line. So that's perfectly normal.
So that's normal. So I don't have to rechange it.
No, everything here is perfect. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine because when it goes from the sky to the ground, that's the horizon line. That's where the sky meets the ground. So yeah.
In the video, in yours video, I didn't see that gray thing.
It was probably not there because either I had the camera at a lower angle. So as you lower the camera, the horizon line becomes lower and you won't see it anymore. Or for this, this is perfectly, this is perfect. There's nothing wrong here. So I wouldn't worry.
Okay. Also, Professor, I have one thing.
Sure.
When you post the video on YouTube, the video is so small.
I know. I noticed that before. Yes. I don't know why. Ideally Zoom. When it records, if I'm zooming into just my 3D Max, it should be recording just my 3D Max screen, right? But they did a Zoom update, and I don't know what happened, because I saw that when I posted a video, it was showing the proportion of my screen, which is a very wide angle screen, and the video was small, right? So I'm hoping that today that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there a way for you to zoom in on the YouTube video?
No, there's no way. Like I have to really like get my eyes in the video.
I'm sorry. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm trying to be careful with this, and hopefully it didn't happen. If it happens today, then I'll record the videos in a different way. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, May.
No worries.
Okay. Any other guys? Comments, questions, anything you want to share? So give me a second. Right now, I am copying the files into your folder, and then I'll let you guys go. Let me see, 3D model. All right, so guys, I put a folder in your, again, class folders, folder number 3. It's called Azuma House. And inside that folder, we have 2 files. One is the 3D model, and one is the professional photographs that I used today in class as reference. Again, the 3D Max file included here is called Azuma House Tadao Ando Student, right? Please take that file and rename it, right, to your last name, your first name. But do not take this file and open it directly from there. Please take it, copy it to another file, rename it. Otherwise, it has a lot of problems. It will crash or corrupt the other things. So try to accomplish, everything on the video that was covered today. If you want to do more, that's great. And again, we'll keep working at class, little by little, and I'll do every step with you guys, so we can see, the whole process for the, the house. And yeah, I'll post a video today, and hopefully it's recording correctly. All right, guys. In that case, I'll let you guys go. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk again soon.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Bye, Professor. Thank you.
Thank you.